Hey, this is David and I'm back. We've completed the crossbar manufacturing process. It's ready to be installed into the gorilla mounts, and so we're ready to finish up this job and get this baby rolling and back into the water, hopefully tomorrow with the grandkids. So looking forward to it. So here's the finished crossbar. The only thing I did while we were away, while I was letting the GoPro batteries charge, is I replaced, there was a circular cushion, and I replaced it with this half moon cushion so that there could be just a little bit of flex there. That way this maintains uniform contact onto the hull, and any irregularities in the shape between this surface and that surface is taken up by two parts on this design that has some curvature. So let this take up the misalignment and let that bolt go wherever it wants to go. So that being said, let's get started. Okay. So the first thing I want to do really is just rigidly mount the crossbar to the gorilla brackets based upon the holes that we drilled yesterday. And unlike other installations, in this case, the long ones are over here. I think what I'd like to do is have the bolt heads on top and the nuts on the bottom, because I think I have clearance to do that, and that allows me to yeah, that'll work. Washer, lock washer, and nut. It's a little bit more fidgeting to get all that hardware on the bottom, but the appearance will probably be nicer. So my recommendation is, as you probably know, just hand tight for now, and then we'll tighten them all up together. And I'm just using my finger to get it hand tight, and the nice thing is, because there's no lock nut, it's very easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and do one bolt on the other side. You may need to flex it a little bit because I need to go get my 1/2-inch nut driver. This will work in a pinch. Okay, now, okay, that looks pretty good. Yep. All right. One more and we got it. Test, audio test. Okay. Sometimes you just get paranoid, making sure that everything is as you had planned it. Just while we're working here, just so you know, I don't know how many of you know, but the appearance of these bolts is different than like standard stainless steel. That's because it's not stainless steel. It's a grade 8 bolt, and yeah, I won't go into all the technical details, but basically these bolts are almost twice as strong as stainless. And all that torque gets concentrated between those two bolts with that big lever arm, which is the leg. And so for both this location and these locations, we use grade 8 hardware simply because out of an abundance of caution. I've never broken one, never tried stainless. I've always gone with grade 8. It's called an Alumicoat, so it's aluminum zinc, 10 times more corrosion resistant than like the zinc chromate bolts. Maybe a little less corrosion resistant than stainless, but you look on kayaks and not everything is stainless if you'll look very closely. I've tried to use the best hardware possible that met the technical specs of the application. So we didn't chintz on hardware at all. I'm just saying. Now, so we're compressing plastic, and there's absolutely no reason, excuse me, to make this excessively tight. We really don't want to put that plastic in too much compression. So, you know, the weight of the whole kayak is resting on these 4 bolts, and that's how the weight then gets transferred into the cross member and then down to the legs so that the wheel support it all, right? I'm just going to do like that. I can't really tell you how much to do it, but it's just a very light pressure. Absolutely, you can kind of see my hand is on the, you can kind of see what I'm doing, right? That's it. That's all it needs to be. Just tight enough so that the lock washer does its job and the joint stays secure. Fortunately for a kayak, for the most part, other than going down the road, you're really not in a big high vibration environment. You may want to occasionally check those. Make sure those joints stay tight. I've never had one loosen up on me. Doesn't mean I say it couldn't happen. And you are also compressing the aluminum because there's no spacer in there. So you've got a kind of a flexible tube with a piece of plastic, and so it's, you know, who's deforming more. That's really why, you know, that, and ultimately all you really have to do is, all the weight is being brought up here. There's not that much weight going down. It's all coming up. So, but that crossbar is now not going anywhere. So the bolts are in place. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is put that tube in there. Oh, rats. I wanted to put this back like I had over there. I may have to just undo everything I just did. Rats. Maybe. Yeah. All right. Well, it's not a big deal. But it, okay. Now, round 2. I feel comfortable with the way the Gorilla mounts are mounted. On the outside, the inner bolts connected to the cross member. We have completed the fixed mount assembly to the kayak. Woo! Other than the, I guess the freedom brackets would be the last part of that. So, let's go bring the freedom brackets out here and get those babies on. Now these freedom brackets, I mean, they're really the heart of the system, right? They do so many things. They do it well. They transmit the load from the leg into the cross member. They allow for the easy locking of the legs. So they're what makes this thing unique and I think value added in many ways. Not the only thing, but one of the key things. Okay, that works very well, right? Brand new. The front one tightened up so nothing moves on me there. So this particular joint, because there's so much stress going in such a little area right on the end of this tube, so I recommend actually using a torque wrench to tighten that to 18 foot-pounds of torque. All right. Let's see if we get a better go at it here. That's it. That's all it took. Now it's time for the torque wrench to tighten up that joint. Double check. Yeah, we're right at 18 foot-pounds of torque. I just keep my 1/2-inch socket, one of many, on there, so it's ready to go for me. Okay, that one's done. Okay, now we can say that the fixed mount assembly is complete. And all that's left is for us to install new legs. So I have to have legs that match the slant of the crossbar. So we have 4 different leg configurations with 4 different slants of the crossbar. And so those 4 different slants of the crossbar have to be aligned with the 4 different slants of the legs. Think about it this way. The angle between the post pivot pole and the axle, you have to make the axle hole straighten out so that it's parallel to the other side so that the wheels go down straight. That's why you know, there's 4 different leg styles for the 4 different leg sweeps to fit the majority of all the fishing kayaks that I've surveyed, from Old Town, Hobie, Jackson, Native, Bonafide. I think I'm probably missing one more. I think one of the Perception, Take something. That being said, let's go get some aligned legs. And when you get your legs, they're going to come in a package. Well, they're going to come in a bigger package. They're going to come in a kit. And then within the kit, the legs are going to look like this. And one thing you'll notice is in the inside, somehow they'll be marked with an 8L and an 8R, right? So there is a right and a left leg, and you got to make sure you get the right leg on the right side so that the leg is going straight down the road. So that being said, just like there is a right and a left freedom bracket, same thing. So, all right, and time for a little Wilderside electrolyte solution. All right. So the freedom handle and the spring, everything else, I'm going to reuse off of the old legs. Off. I just want to say, probably had a knife in there, but I guess just split it apart like that. You know, I've never actually unwrapped legs before. They just come right off of the factory floor and into my hand. So it's kind of fun for me to unwrap the legs. This says 8R, so this goes over here. And just for me, it's really up to you what you like to do, but I like, so the handle goes on top of the leg as it goes into the freedom bracket. I like to have the heads of the hardware kind of facing me as I'm inside, just because, you know, I want to kind of look at the nice side of the hardware. That's just, but you might want to show off the heads to all your neighbors on the outside. It's really up to you. I have a convention so that I just remember what's what. And so really what we're going to do is just remove the cotter pin and slide this handle pivot pin out. Set it aside for now. And all we have to do is remove the spring, which is 1/4 inch hardware, so you need a 7/16 like socket and nut driver. I do have the pivot pin, I'll reuse that as well. So here's the new leg. And I mean, it's symmetrical about itself, so this is the same as, you don't have to worry about any orientation there. Pick a spot. Doesn't matter if you stick it this way or this way. It could go either way. Just stick it in and tighten up the lock nut just slightly, but leave a little play, so you don't want to crush the spring, right? Just get it tight enough that the lock nut is well seated onto the bolt. Eyeball it a little bit. So then all you're going to do is slide the assembled, so you're going to have to assemble the freedom handle. It's just 4 bolts, nuts, hardware, whatever. Slip the locking pin in the bottom of the freedom handle with its washers. It's all very simple, it just takes a little bit of time. And then we're going to slide this up until the holes in the freedom handle align to the handle pivot pin holes in the leg. You are fighting against the spring tension just a little bit. You can put one end in or the other, either way. Sometimes it's actually easier to stretch it and put the bottom bolt in last instead of the top. Sometimes you want to just relieve the tension on the spring while you're doing this. Okay, at the end of the day, we now have an assembled right leg. And it's going to go in like so. I'm going to initially center that, and the leg's just going to sit there like that. And then I'm going to take off the leg pivot pin and put it in here. You can kind of see the shadow of the hole if you look right from the top to be able to help with your alignment. And this is when it gets really exciting. You can actually install the wheel. The pivot spacer goes between the leg and the wheel just to keep the wheel from rubbing. And there we have it. Voila. One side is ready to go. I am just really, really excited. This is just such a fun day. Looking forward to measuring the tongue weight. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the top in first, just to demonstrate how that goes. Again, doesn't matter, but this is the top. Top goes to top. Slide the handle pivot pin through the top hole. Yeah, this is kind of hard just to get the hole aligned. Maybe you look from the other side and kind of see how you're doing from an alignment standpoint. There we go. Okay. It's a tight fit, as it should be. But that went pretty well, actually. And then all you're going to do is just stretch that spring ever so slightly, and I like to just put the bolt in from behind. You could go either way, but I like to put the bolt like so and slide it through the bore. Look back here to see where the bolt is. You got it. And again, just enough to engage the lock nut, but you want to leave play in this joint so the spring is free to slide around a little bit. And there you have it. It's great. We have an assembled left leg. Handle goes on top. Slide it in from the top and just let the front just rest in the front lock, which would be the stowed position. Get right over the leg. Start from inside, and it's really hard because I've got the sun shining on this leg, but you'll see a little bit of a shadow of the cross hole for the axle pivot pin. And just put the lock pin in place. Folks, I think we've got it. Grab the mobile cam. You can see the legs as they look right now with 8-degree cant, 8-degree leg sweep. I'm loving it, man. I just can't wait to pop these babies up. I need to take my kayak brace off because I need it to finish the assembly. And so going to attempt to do this with 1.5 hands. You're getting a very up close and personal look there. So what you do, it's a solid stainless steel axle. Slide it in from the outside, from the inside out. Slide on the post pivot spacer, or the wheel spacer, and then stainless steel safety pin on the end to keep that wheel where it needs to be. Team, we did it. We've got her done. This Freedom launcher is installed and ready to rock and roll, other than just maybe removing the tape on the crossbar. Get it before the sun bakes all that sticky onto the crossbar. I can feel it's already kind of. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very, very happy with all that. It's looking good. A bit more tape to take off. Well, I'm going to clean this up and get it ready to deploy and measure our tongue weights with the new design. But the camera's off for now.